So friends, good afternoon. I welcome all of you to this to our today's session. Uh, our plan was that we are supposed to discuss the concept of audit evidence, but before that we need to understand some related things. Related things in the sense, auditor collects evidence in order to express an opinion. How he collects the evidence is by applying various audit procedures, right? You already know at a basic level, we have already discussed audit procedures can be of maybe risk assessment procedure, other audit procedures. So all these procedures are applied by the auditor. And by applying that procedure, auditor collects some evidences, and on the basis of these evidences, auditor forms an opinion, and that opinion needs to be expressed in the form of audit report. That is the concept. Now, you also know that what auditor exactly does. Auditor tries to find out basically whether the financial statement is showing true and fair view or not. So we need to understand what is that concept of true and fair view first of all. Okay, because auditor is giving an opinion that the financial statement is showing true and fair view. So we need to understand that thing. To understand that thing, also we should have some idea about various assertions of the financial statement, right? Because auditor, by applying audit procedure, auditor in fact tests those assertions, whether these assertions are valid or not. So we need to understand what is true and fair view. We need to understand the concept of assertions, which you are already aware of. And also we need to understand this concept, audit procedures. After that only we'll be able to understand what is audit evidence. So all the things are related. So one by one, first I'll be explaining the concept. After that only we'll be able to enter into the subject of audit evidences. Okay. So let me share the screen with you right now. So since concepts are related, so you have to learn audit procedures and audit evidences together. But before that, let us have an idea about this. What is the meaning of true and fair view of the financial statement? As you know, financial statements are supposed to show true and fair view, is it not? An auditor in its audit report, in fact, writes or he gives an opinion whether the financial statements are showing true and fair view or not. Yes or no? You know it or you don't know? Can you respond? Can you reply?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So please reply promptly. Now you see.
Yes,
Okay. Now you see the concept of true and fair view. We need to understand. As I told you, auditor needs to express whether financial statement are showing true and fair view or not. And you already know what is the meaning of financial statement. Can you very quickly respond? What are the financial statements we're talking about? Very quickly. Any one of you can say. Which
sir. Can you repeat it?
I'm talking about that auditor gives an opinion on the financial statement, and auditor explains, auditor, let us say, gives opinion whether the financial statements are showing true and fair view. Now, what are these financial statements I'm talking about? Can you tell me the list? Yeah. Please tell me quickly.
Sir, you're asking about what are the financial statements?
Yeah.
Sir, your profit and loss statement,
Okay.
balance sheet,
Okay.
cash flow statement,
Right.
equity shareholder equity shareholder statement,
Okay.
and notes to account.
Okay. So I'll just change the name of some of these statements. You see, let us go by sequence. One thing is that balance sheet. Second one is statement of profit and loss. Third one is your cash flow statement. Fourth one is statement of changes in equity. Fifth one is your explanatory notes. So on this thing, whether all these things are showing true and fair view or not, that is what auditor gives opinion about. Right? Auditor gives opinion about the true and fairness of this financial statement. And this concept of true and fair view or the concept of true and fair is a very fundamental concept of auditing. Okay. And this financial statement that we are discussing right now, they have got different objectives. For example, let us say balance sheet shows the state of affairs of the company, state of affairs of the entity. Balance sheet shows the positions. Similarly, statement of profit and loss shows the performance. Cash flow statement shows the inflow and outflow of cash and cash equivalents. Whether all these statements are showing true and fair view or not, auditor expresses an opinion about this. How he can express an opinion? He needs to examine the accounts. Okay, he needs to examine the accounts. He needs to verify the assets, liabilities, income, expenditures, cash flows, and he tests whether all these transactions or the balances are recorded in accordance with the accounting principles, whether they're recorded in accordance with the policies which are acceptable. So on that basis, auditor forms an opinion whether the financial statements are showing true and fair view or not. So this is the concept of true and fair. Okay. Right. That means the state of affairs, the results, the cash flows that the company is showing in the financial statement that actually showing the that actually true and they represent the fair position of the accounts. That's what audit is certified. And the concept of forming an audit opinion and reporting the financial statement is explained in SS 700, how auditor can form an opinion. And this particular SS 700 talks about auditor can form an opinion on the basis of evaluation of the conclusions. So when auditor applies the audit procedures, auditor gets some evidences. So auditor's opinion should be based on the conclusions that is drawn out of these evidences. Okay. To put it differently, auditor has to form an opinion on the financial statements based on an evaluation of the conclusions drawn from the audit evidences of them and express clearly that opinion through written report. So auditor has to give a clear report and also he has to give a written report about the truth and fairness of the financial statement. Okay. Right? Auditor is required to express his opinion on the financial statement that they are presented fairly in all material respects. Okay. So for example, let us say, if you talk about the balance sheet, it shows the financial positions. If you talk about the, let us say, statement of profit and loss account, it talks about the financial performances. So auditor gives an opinion about these things. Okay. Now, how we'll know that these financial statements are showing true and fair view? How the auditor will know? As you know, as by this time you must have got some idea. It's a matter of judgment. Auditor judges whether the financial statement is showing true and fair view or not. How he can apply his judgment? There are, we can say, certain issues needs to be addressed. Or auditor may apply his mind, or auditor may apply his judgmental skill to understand whether these financial statements are showing true and fair view or not. What the auditor is supposed to see? First of all, he has to see that the assets are neither overvalued or undervalued according to accounting, according to the acceptable accounting principle. Right? So accounting principle talks about how assets are needs to be valued, how they are to be presented in the financial statement. Let us say there is a particular way you can value inventory. There is a particular way you can value your non-current assets. If those acceptable accounting principles are not followed, then assets may be undervalued, may be overvalued. Consequently, the financial statement may not show true and fair view. Yes or no? You are agreeing with this? Similarly, auditor also needs to see that no material asset is omitted. It should not happen that asset is there, but company has omitted that. or the entity has omitted to record that particular asset. If that is so, then the financial statement is not showing true and fair view. Auditor also needs to see that charge, if any, on the asset is disclosed. Charge means, let us say, some loan has taken by offering the asset as security. That means these assets are under charge. So if there is some charge on this asset, that means the entity is not the fully or full or complete owner of that asset, because the assets are under charge. If that is the situation, auditor need to disclose that these are the assets which are under charge. Auditor also needs to see there is no material liability which is omitted. So auditor needs to verify that all material liabilities should not be omitted. Right? Auditor also needs to see the profit and loss account or the balance sheet discloses all matters that is required to be disclosed. Certain matters, if that is required to be disclosed according to the requirement of accounting standard or as per the requirements of the laws which are applicable. So those matters needs to be disclosed. And he has to also check that the accounting policies are followed consistently. If there is variation in accounting policy, so auditor need to see the reason for that. And any unusual, exceptional, or non-recurring items needs to be disclosed separately. So this is in fact a broad guideline what one need to check in order to ensure that the financial statements are showing true and fair view. Did you understand these 7 points that I told you? When I say that financial statements should show true and fair view, what are the things auditor need to see? This is, you can say, these are some of the illustrative examples. Are you getting these 7 points, or do you have any query? Do you have any doubt on this?
No, sir.
Now, one more concept also we need to understand regarding true and fair view. Now, this is the extract of section 129 of the Companies Act 2013. If you read this provision, it says the financial statement shall give a true and fair view of the state of affairs of the company or companies if they comply with the accounting standards notified under section 133, and shall be in the form or forms as provided for different classes of companies in Schedule 3. That means this is one more thing we have to see. If we want to see that the financial statements are complying true and fair view, it has to be seen that the accounting standards which are notified under section 133 are compliant, and the financial statements are presented in the form which are provided in Schedule 3. As you know, so far as companies are concerned, so there is a format, and the financial statement is to be prepared according to that format. Okay. And each items of the financial statement needs to be recognized, needs to be presented, needs to be disclosed in accordance with the accounting standard, which are prescribed or which are notified under section 133. Okay, I think you now got a fair idea about the concept of true and fair view. How the financial statement can show true and fair view. Presentation format needs to be checked. Compliance of the accounting standard needs to be checked. Plus these 7 issues just like I told, that assets should not be overvalued or undervalued. Material assets or liabilities should not be omitted. If a charge is there, that needs to be disclosed. Right? Unusual, exceptional, non-recurring items needs to be disclosed. Accounting policies need to be followed consistently. Okay, wherever any disclosure is required, then that disclosure should have been made. If all these things are complied with, you can say financial statements are showing true and fair. Okay, right. And you know, it is the responsibilities of the management to ensure that the financial statements are showing true and fair. Auditor gives an opinion. whether it is actually showing true and fair view or not. Okay, is it clear to you, the concept of true and fair view? If it is clear, then we'll come to the next concept, that is audit procedures. Right? Is it clear to you?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. Now we'll go to the next concept, that is about audit procedures we need to understand. All these things are related to our main topic, which is about audit evidences. Now, auditor applies certain audit procedures. Why these procedures are applied? Because by applying that procedures only, auditor will be able to collect some evidences. And these procedures, if coming to audit procedures, as you can say, broadly two category of procedures are there. Can you see it here? What is written? Can you see? Can anyone read it?
Yes, sir. Audit procedure.
Yeah.
Under it comes risk assessment procedures, other audit procedure. Under other audit procedure, test of controls, which is compliance procedures and substantive procedures. Under it comes test of details, under which comes test of transactions, that is vouching, and test of balances, that is verification. And under substantive procedures come analytical procedures, which is computation of ratios or trends.
Yeah. So when we're talking about audit procedures, as you can say, broadly two category of procedure. First is risk assessment procedure. Here, auditor tries to assess the risk, apply certain procedure, so that he can assess what is the audit risk he is going to take. What is audit risk? I am going to explain you shortly. Right. Once that is over, or after that thing, he also applies some other procedures which are called as other audit procedures. The other audit procedures can be compliance procedure or substantive procedure. Compliance procedures are in fact test of controls. That means here auditor tests the internal controls. So the entity must be functioning by using certain internal control system. So whether that internal control system is actually operating or not, that is tested. Okay, let us say company has a purchase procedure. Every purchase should follow that procedure. Whether that is compliant with or not, that is tested through this process, through the application of this procedure, which is called as the test of controls or compliance procedure. Substantive procedures are again two types. One is test of details, where the transactions are checked, that is called as vouching, and the balances are checked, that is called as the verification. Balances are normally reflected in the balance sheet, and transactions are reflected in the statement of profit and loss. Right. In addition to that, there is one more substantive analytical procedures, that is computation of ratios and trends. Certain analytical procedures are applied. They also forms a part of audit procedure. So auditor applies all this procedure. That means a mixture of risk assessment procedure, other procedure, compliance procedure, substantive procedure, everything is applied. And through application of these procedures, auditor collects evidences. And after evaluating that evidences, auditor forms an opinion. Okay. Right. Now, having understood about this procedures or the categorization of procedures, again, we'll come back to the procedures after some time. Now, we need to understand few more things. First of all, what is risk assessment procedure, and this stage let me explain you. Or before that, one more concept, as I told you. You see, these financial statements, when they're presented, they contain an overall representation. That means overall the entity is representing something. Overall the computer is representing that, overall the entity, the statement is representing that this is the financial position. Okay. And there might be, let us say, some specific assertions also. So earlier when we were discussing about the assertions, you know, there are certain assertions which are specific to transactions. There are certain assertions which are specific to account balances. There are certain assertions which are specific to presentations and disclosure. So the financial statement overall contains, or you can say it contains an overall representation, or and in addition to that, some specific representations also. Okay, so as a whole, financial statement as a whole represents something, and each individual items also represent something. All right. So if I'm saying, or if you're assessing something, let us say I'm assessing the risk at the overall level, I can say risk is assessed at the financial statement level. But if I'm assessing risk at a particular item of the financial statement, I'm testing whether all the assertions of that items are valid or not, then I can say I'm testing the risk at the assertion level. So there are in fact two levels of risk assessment. One is risk assessment as financial statement level, other one is risk assessment at the assertion level. Again, I'll be explaining you that concept. At this stage, it might appear to you little complex. So what we'll do, we'll elaborate first of all some of the audit procedures. All of the audit procedures will elaborating. Then again, once again, we'll try to understand what are the assertions. Then we'll understand what is the difference between assertions, what is the difference between risk assessment at financial statement level and risk assessment at assertions level. Okay. Now, first, let us say risk assessment procedures. These are the procedures which are performed to obtain an understanding of an entity and its environment, including internal controls. So, first of all, auditor tries to understand the entity or the entity's environment and what are the internal controls applicable to that entity. That is what auditor tries to understand. How we can understand? By applying this risk assessment procedures. Okay. To identify and assess the risk of material misstatement, whether due to fraud or error at assertion level or at financial statement level. So objective is that auditor needs to assess, need to identify what is the risk of material misstatement. That means what is the chance that there will be misstatement in the financial statement, and the misstatement is material. And this misstatement may happen maybe due to fraud or maybe due to the error. Okay, and auditor needs to assess that thing. And how he can assess? He need to assess at two levels. One is assertion level, second one is at financial level, financial statement level. Did you understand this concept? So when applying the audit procedure, first auditor need to apply this risk assessment procedures so that he can assess the risk at assertion level and also at financial statement level. Okay, are you getting, or you find it is little complex? Are you able to understand this?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now let me elaborate what is the meaning of this assertion level and financial statement level. Just like just now I elaborated it. Once again, let me try to explain it. So when talking about assertion level, you have to think like this. Assertion level, you imagine as if you are ensuring each of the individual figures in the financial statements are correct or not. That means individually each items are correct or not. That is called as you are testing the transaction at assertion level. If you feel that in a particular item, there is a risk of material misstatement. Okay. That is called as you are testing or you are applying the risk assessment procedures at an assertion level. When you're talking about the financial statement level, this again, this means again applying certain procedures to ensuring that the financial statement as a whole at showing a true and fair view. So if you're assessing that there is a possibility, assessing the possibility of the financial statement getting materially misstated as a whole, okay, by applying certain procedures, if you're trying to evaluate that thing, evaluate the risk of material misstatement in the financial statement as a whole, that means you are applying a risk assessment procedure at financial statement level. So financial statement level means we are referring to the entire financial statement. And assertion level means we are talking about the particular item or maybe sometimes a particular asset. Okay. So to understand that concept, let us recapitulate the concept of assertions, which you have already learned in our initial classes. But let me repeat it, because without understanding this concept, we will not be able to apply risk assessment procedures at all. As you know, these assertions refer to representations by management. So management makes certain representation. How it makes? Explicitly or otherwise. Maybe implied, maybe expressed representation made by the management. And how these representations are made? In fact, these representations are embodied in the financial statement. That means when the financial statements are prepared, these representations are already there. Okay. Okay. For example, I always give this example. Earlier also I had given you. Let us say financial statements shows a particular item, that factory building this much of value. So management is making an assertion that is, you see, I am the owner of that factory building. So assertions about ownership is made there. So like this. So certain assertions are embodied in the financial statement. And these assertions are used by the auditor to consider different type of potential misstatements that may occur. So auditor test, management is saying he is the owner, auditor test actually he is the owner or not. Auditor may ask for show me the document which shows that you are the owner of that building. Why the auditor is asking? Because auditor wants to test the assertions which are embodied in the financial statement. Or you can say the representations which are embodied in the financial statement. That needs to be tested. Did you understand? Okay. So I repeat, when you talk about any assertion, this means representations by management, explicit or otherwise, that are embodied in the financial statement as used by the auditor to consider different types of potential misstatements that may occur. So first of all, auditor needs to know if there is a particular balance or there is a particular transaction, what are the assertion it is making, and is there any possibility that this assertions or this item may be materially misstated. Okay, and in representing that financial statements, are in accordance with the financial reporting framework, management implicitly or explicitly makes assertions regarding these aspects. So management makes assertions regarding recognition, measurement, presentation, and disclosure. Okay, so as you know, financial statement contains various elements. So as regards to all these elements, management makes assertions as regards to the recognition, measurement, presentations, and disclosure. And you know that here is the list of assertions. You can see it, different type of assertions. First, let us say, as regards to transactions and events, management makes an assertions about the occurrence. That means the transaction has actually occurred. Completeness, that means all the transactions are there. No transaction is missed. Accuracy, arithmetical amount is correct. Then arithmetical accuracy is there. The cutoff means this transaction pertains to that period, because financial statements like statement of profit and loss is prepared for a particular period. Classification, they're classified consistently in the way it is desirable. Similarly, coming to account balances, then assertions are also made as regards to existence, rights and obligation, completeness, valuation and allocation. Coming to presentations and disclosures, assertions are also made as regards to occurrence, rights and obligation, completeness, classification, understandability, and accuracy of values. Okay, so management makes assertions as regards to, or management makes the following assertions. And auditor is required to test these assertions. If these assertions are not valid, let us say auditor is saying this is my asset. Asset means they are the rights. If actually it is not the right of the entity, then this assertion is not valid. So auditor needs to test whether actually it's the right of the entity or not. Okay. Or let us say management says this is my liability. Liability means it is the entity's obligation. So auditor tests whether this particular assertion is valid or not. If it is not an obligation, that is not the liability. Okay. And the moment management says this is my these are my assets, these are my liability, management also thereby makes an assertion that this is complete. That means no asset is missed out or no liabilities is missed out. So auditor tests that thing. Is there any other liabilities which is not included? So like this, all these assertions are tested by the auditor. Okay, so these are the assertions as regards to balances. As you know, existence, assets, liabilities, and equities are entities' interest, and it exists. Rights and obligation. That means entity holds or controls the assets, and entity is obliged to prepay the liabilities. Coming to completeness, that means all assets and liabilities, equity interest, which should have been recorded are actually recorded. Then fourth assertion is regarding valuation and allocation. That means assets, liabilities, and equities interests are included in the financial statement at appropriate amounts. That amounts are correct. Coming to assertions about transactions. Transactions are actually occurred. This shows that means complete transaction. That is no unrecorded events, nor unrecorded transaction. Transactions are recorded at appropriate amounts, accurate amounts. It pertains to the correct accounting period. It has been classified properly. And as regards to presentations and disclosures, the assertion says like this: occurrence and rights and obligation. The disclosed events, transactions, and other matters have actually been occurred. All disclosures are made, and financial statements are presented properly, properly described, properly disclosed, and other informations are also fairly disclosed. These are the assertions made by the management. Now let me also explain you once again what is the meaning of risk assessment at financial statement level and at assertion level. As you know, auditor has to apply audit procedures. Just now we have concluded that certain audit procedures needs to be applied, and through that application only auditability instances will be corrected. Okay. How to and when I say this thing, risk assessment procedures have to be applied. So auditor assesses risk. Okay, and those risks which can affect all the assertions made in the financial statement and the risk at financial statement level. If there is a risk which affects all the assertions, that means it has got a pervasive effect. That is, you can say, risk at financial statement level. And those risks which affect any assertions, then you can say risk at a assertion level. And auditor needs to assess the risk at financial statement level as well as assertion level. At both the levels, auditor needs to assess the risk. There is a concept of negative assertions also. Negative assertions are encountered in the financial statement. It may be expressed, it may be implied also. Suppose the entity gives a disclosure that there is no contingent liability. This is an example of negative assertion and it is expressed. Implied assertion means suppose you are saying a financial statement, you are seeing a balance sheet where you are saying there is no land. That means it implied, it's an implied assertion that the company or the entity doesn't have any land. Okay, so this is the meaning of negative assertions. It may be implied, it may be expressed also. Having understood this, I think now we have created a platform to understand the concept of audit evidences. As I told you right now, or just before, evidences are collected by applying audit procedures. So we need to understand audit procedures, the concept of audit procedures. And audit procedures are applied to test that the assertions are valid or not. And audit procedures includes a procedure which is called as the risk assessment procedure, where the auditor assesses the risk, assesses the audit risk at financial statement level as well as at assertion level. And ultimately, the objective of the auditor is to ensure that the financial statements are showing true and fair view. So we have already understood what is the concept of true and fair view. We have already understood what is assertions, what are the assertions, what kind of assertions made by the management. We have already understood what is the risk at assertion level, at the risk at the financial statement level. Okay, so having understood this, now we are in a position to understand the concept of audit evidences. So friends, right now we'll take a break. We'll catch up to understand the concept of audit evidences shortly.